But oh yeah, I want to say um the debate lodge thing. When we were talking about Lore Lodge, by the way, I have decided, from what I understand, I didn't look it up. I don't care. I'm confident enough that I just don't give a shit to look it up. But apparently, Lore Lodge may have said that he's going to retract the lawsuit that didn't exist anyway. So I have decided to spare his villages and his lands for a while, but I will return for tribute in perhaps 4 moons. The mighty Gon says, take a falcon to his people, and let them know that when the falcon's feathers fall 18 times upon the stone of their muse, Khan will return. And at that time he will demand his tribute. But until then, peace be upon his lands, and no man may raid where the Khan's footsteps have fallen. That is all. Do a real quick breakdown on what exactly fucking happened over the past few days, because we have had H Bomber Guy's editor is now aware of this. I don't know if we told you guys that. I don't think they're particularly interested in actually like looking into anything, but it is just pretty fucking funny because it changed. It changed Mattis's whole fucking talking speed. So here's the breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. This is about a death battle on the internet. Tyler Bell is a guy on the internet, and that guy is me. Right around 2 weeks ago, I watched a video called "They Lied to You About the Killdozer" or some such thing. Editors, please feel free to correct me with screenshots as I go along, because I don't really care to get all of my fucking ducks in order, so to say. I just want to tell this off the I made a video on that, and I found while I was watching it that I didn't want to finish watching it for 2 primary reasons. The first is when it was "They Lied to You About Killdozer," I thought it was going to be a difference in opinion from every fucking Killdozer video or relative to Killdozer thing I'd ever heard. I thought I was going to hear something new about Killdozer, which was not the shit I heard from the Count Dankula video on Killdozer from several years ago, which, from what I understand, a vast majority of people introduction to Killdozer. I'm not even gonna go into Killdozer. I don't care. If you want to know more about Killdozer, go ahead and look it up. But I thought it was going to be a different take. It wasn't. It was, hey, that's the same take, and I have new opinions on it or some shit. I don't really care about that because I watched the first 15-ish minutes of the video on stream and found just blatant examples of plagiarism. Like, it was like highly lazy examples of plagiarism where they were copying stuff, clipping stuff directly out, and I just said, you know what? This looks like shit. I'm not going to watch it. And I kind of like looked at it a little bit, and I think most of that video was generally about kind of telling people that this is a lazy way to make stuff and you shouldn't emulate it. And if somebody's presenting claims and stuff to you like this, just always try to answer one of my golden questions, which is, how could somebody know this? And if they're not immediately telling you how they could know it, then assume that they are possibly wrong or lying to you or stealing or something. Just assume the most duplicitous answer, because there's no reason not for you not to. There isn't. And once you go check, if you care, you can find the answer out yourself. And if they keep being duplicitous, then you were right about them being duplicitous, which is kind of the case here. I made that video. I put Aidan Mattis's face in it because Aidan Mattis's face is in the video. That it is bad in the thumbnail. And this video, Killdozer video is terrible or something like that. And I did not give a shit. I didn't think I would hear about it again. I tagged him in the video because I guess not necessarily everybody, because I forget. And sometimes the tag function in YouTube's descriptions doesn't work. It won't bring, you type it and it doesn't bring up the tags, and then I get sick of it and I stop. Sometimes I can't find the person to tag them, and sometimes I just fucking forget. But usually I try to tag the people I'm talking about so that they can talk to me back, which in this case happened with Aidan. I think it was almost immediately, maybe after the video came out, he was in the comment section about it, malding. There is an entire video on that, which is this massive YouTuber is malding in my comments or whatever I wrote. So there's a whole video on that, which I also kind of thought was going to be pushing towards the end of things, but was not, because while I was getting ready to do that segment, Mattis had been malding in the comments, and then his editor, I think it was actually maybe during those segments even, started super chatting me to say, like, we want to talk to you or something like that. They didn't reach out through any of the channels to talk to me that I provided, which just shows that they don't do their research. Like, literally, there's no argument, because I have my presets, my literal preset on every video, so I don't have to think about it or do it. Puts in all of the links to all of my information. So all you have to do is, whatever video of mine that you're looking at, if you're 50 feet deep in the comments, you've scrolled past, because of the way that YouTube works, you've scrolled past my information to get to the comments. So like all of my personal interaction stuff is there. I consider YouTube and all interpersonal interactions as a public figure to be a PvP space. So once you got it, let me tell you this: when you go outside, all right. Now everybody else may think I'm outside. I have my phone on. No, you're in a PvP space. If you are giving your opinions or arguing your opinions online, you are in a PvP space. I don't know why people need to be reminded of this in the year of our Lord 2024, but it is just simply the case. You are in a PvP space. People are going to try to get you. They are going to try to talk shit about you. This is why you button stuff up. This is why people have DDoS protection. The internet is a PvP arena. YouTube especially is a PvP arena. It just is. I don't need to. I feel like looking at YouTube content will prove that to you. So like, always be on your P and Qs. Know who you are. Don't be cringe. Don't be fucking weird. Don't drop your taxes folder. It's a PvP arena. I don't feel like that's in any way, shape, or form a controversial opinion. So I say people can be aggro with me if they want. I will be aggro back. I don't mind. It's like I don't hold it against people personally. That's why I bring it up. But like, if you want to scrap, I scrap with you. But I also don't believe there's any reason to ever believe and you shouldn't, by the way, ever believe that people are on the up and up when they try to contact you about anything. Because I've been on the internet for 20 fucking years, and one of the oldest rules on the internet is just assume everybody that is talking to you is trying to get something out of you. That's how you prevent yourself from getting phished. It's how you prevent yourself from getting set up, okay? When Aidan and his editor specifically reached out to me, so to say, first Aidan was saying stuff in my comments. I don't have that. That's in the malding comments video. Go look it up. But basically, like, suggesting that this was an IPOS, in Praise of Shadows situation for me. In Praise of Shadows is a ostensibly lefty, I guess, YouTuber who humiliated himself making a Wendigoon call out video basically like a week before I talked about Lore Lodge and their Killdozer video. And it was a major thing, I know, because I did a video saying I think fucking In Praise of Shadows is a bigoted piece of shit. So, unironically, if you say that I'm like In Praise of Shadows, that starts off as an insult to me. And also, as a larger YouTuber, which Lore Lodge is, talking to me, that just comes off as aggro. There's no reason for me not to believe that it's aggro. There isn't, and so I'm going to treat it like that. And everyone should. This is a personal belief, on my opinion, on my side, that anyone that talks to you on the internet, you should just always assume they're out to get you. Just assume until you have all of the evidence otherwise. And anyone who's like, well, that seems like it's a fucking sad way to live. Like, dude, get off the internet if you want to have a happy life. Don't put your entire existence between the fucking parentheticals at the end of a fucking YouTube, or the cross slashes at the end of a YouTube video. Okay, like live for more. But everybody, since I have been in these spaces as a fucking teenager, it has been nonstop. I have private messages. I have DMs. Let me tell you behind the scenes. I know about this person's personal life for fucking decades. And that happens between people that are literal described best friends. So when you're a major YouTuber coming and talking to me, there's literally no reason for me not to believe that you're going to try to turn me into content, because we're all fucking content mountain. We're content beasts. He also just said that he was going to turn me into content. He suggested in one of these comments that he was going to be rewatching my video. And this, if I talk to him, it would be giving him a second to, or it would give me time to basically tell my side of the story, which implies, first off, when you use that kind of language, that I'm guilty of something, because telling your side of the story kind of, that's like, well, go ahead and why don't you get the guilty one up on the witness stand so he can tell his side of the story. And there's no reason for me to believe any other version of this, especially considering how Aidan Mattis has acted following this, right? During this time, his editor pays to have super chats sent to me while I'm talking on stream, which is, if you guys don't know anything about live streaming, a flex. It is literally like, hey, you can't ignore me. I'm sending basically certified mail in front of your audience to tell you I want to talk to you, right? Which, as far as I'm concerned, is a fucking absolute PvP event, right? Because I know you can reach out to me privately. Austin McConnell, who I called out, and is a 2 million whatever the fuck, he's got a bunch of subs. He found my westsidefairytales.com website that I use all the time and sent me an email versus over the thing there. So like, he just acted like an adult, despite the fact that he is also a little bit of a shitter, and approached me the right way, which is respectfully, man to man. I don't care about the size of other people's YouTube channel, right? Because I know you're flesh and blood behind that, and I could take that from you. So I don't see why I should give a fuck that you have 10 million little fucking names that will talk to me online. I don't care. I don't give a shit. People have dropped bombs on me. It might be something that scares other people, but I don't care. And so I won't treat people with respect just because they have a larger audience. It means next to nothing to me. I'm a honey badger that way. It's not a flex. It's a warning. I literally don't care. All you're telling me is that if I attack you or I interact with you or whatever, there's a possibility that if I flip it in my favor, I can get more viewers. And there's no reason to ever treat anyone in these spaces any differently, ever, or to assume that they're going to treat you differently until a great deal of evidence has been presented. And as we found out, that's very much the case for me. So they challenged me to a little bit of a meeting, good faith, whatever. I don't give a shit. When you sign up, if you ask somebody to talk to you, you don't get to decide the terms of the conversation just because you offered it. They should have, if you wanted me to be nice to you or to have a moderator, or if you just wanted to understand the kind of person that I was before I talked to you, you should have watched the hours upon days of content that all of my fucking fans are familiar with, where I have constantly, repeatedly said, I want to smoke. I love blood sports. That Mr. Medicare guy, I would like to talk to him some point. I think I could fucking hang in a conversation. Did you guys ever see the time Mr. Medicare destroyed Nick Fuentes? Hilarious. I am from a part of the internet that prides itself on PvP interactions. I just am. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That is the nature of my content, which you would have learned if you would have done some research on me. I know personally that me staying and being out about this is going to limit the interactions I have with other creators whose content and whose personalities I may very much like. But I like to be out front and upfront about it at all times. But I cannot reach out to every single person that has a problem with me and sit them down and say, I don't know if you don't understand this, because I want to help you out here. I'm an extremely aggro, former Marine, combat veteran journalist who prides himself on attacking larger channels who do duplicitous shit and think that they can get away with it. And I especially hate plagiarism and content theft, and I will be extremely aggro about that, and I will attack you, and I will do research because that's my whole thing. The hours of content I have do not in any way, literal days of content I have, do not in any way, shape, or form obfuscate that. I say it all the time. One of my long-running rules on my channel is my actual fans are not allowed to defend me outside of my comments. It is inappropriate. You're only allowed to tell people to talk to me because I want the smoke. I want to have arguments with people. I think it's fun. I enjoy it. I like having knockdown, drag out fucking arguments and insults with people. I think it's a fucking blast. And I've set everything up so that I can do it in a safe way where I know I'm not going to have a bunch of my dipshit fans go off and aggro with people. I think it's good content. I have done everything I can to warn people. I have set up my barriers, okay? Ape war. To prevent anyone from accidentally stumbling into this fucking aggro zone. But if you walk past every fucking warning, if you don't do your research, if you don't even just reach out privately and talk to me in a way that is going, like, if it's kayfabe completely when we are off out of, he never DM'd me in a valuable way. They DM'd me on Instagram, and by that time it was too late. Once you start talking to me in front of my fan base, I'm only going to talk to you in front of my fan base from then on. And I'm not going to permit you to take the fucking conversation out into private spaces so we can have like a good No. Once you try to talk shit to me, you have to be dealt with. You have to be annihilated. You have to be attacked because I can't permit you to sully my reputation and make me look like some sort of fucking pussy. Like I had to fucking go and take it out to a sidebar because I'm like maybe nervous about your numbers or something. No. Like the second you opened it up, it's fucking PvP from then on. And they opened it up and they paid to do it in front of me. I know the arguments that you're going to make because I know the kind of people you are. Been on the internet this long. Lore Lodge isn't the first Lore Lodge. All right? Aidan Mattis isn't the first Aidan Mattis. He's not the millionth. There's so many versions of these guys out there that I knew what I had to do my little bit of research and set it up so that I could have him fucking mauled for me and dance like a fucking wind-up toy for the entirety of the fucking debate. I set it up. He asked me, do you know what you look like? Yes, I was practicing this for fucking a day and a half. I did research to make this happen. Think I look up Bible quotes because I feel like it? No, I set all of this up to do the maximum amount of damage I could to you because it's a PvP arena. It's a debate online. You stepped into a situation where we could talk. All I have to do is not lie and not embarrass myself by the standards that I set for myself and the kind of audience that I want to build. You walked into that because you didn't do any research. So that's that setup. The debate happens, and it goes exactly the way I thought it would. Now, understand, I prepared for that, heart and soul. I was literally shadowboxing in this area behind me, and I hurt myself because I'm not supposed to be jumping like that because of my herniated disc. And saying to myself out loud and in my head a lot of the things that you ended up hearing during the debate because I was preparing for it. I used to do stand-up comedy for a little bit while I was in college. It wasn't like something I became famous for or anything, but that act of public speaking is something you prepare for. I had fucking burns, smokes, insults ready for a lot of things that never even happened. I prepared for a series of possible interactions with him. And I find out from his editor later that he was up researching a different video. Why? Because he's fucking arrogant. Aidan Mattis is an arrogant man, an arrogant fool of a man. He is hubris personified. He is every Greek tragedy wrapped into a single person. I undid him because he held out the thread of his sweater and I pulled. It took nothing else. The biggest thing I was worried about in the 24 hours leading up to the conversation was that I had somehow missed something because it all seemed too fucking easy. I was like, there's no way someone's going to set themselves up like this. There's no way someone's going to enter a fucking PvP arena and think that they're going to do this dumb shit. There's no fucking way he is going to be this arrogant to not do his research. There's no way he can't be this wrong. No way he doesn't know anything about me. There's no way he thinks that this is going to go the way that he thinks it's going to go. And he walked right the fuck into it. We could have had a normal conversation. He could have shut the fuck up at any point. He could have not fucking yelled at any point. He's the one that started it. People would be like, Tyler, you also were down there. And like, yeah, I have ground game. What, do you think I was going to go into a debate? I can't fight, stand up, or ground game. You just saw me wrestling. That's it. If he wanted to talk about the facts calmly, we would have talked about the facts calmly. If he wanted to fucking get down into the mud, which he did, we would have done that. And that's evidenced by the fact that he went to massive personal insults first. The closest thing you can say I did to a personal insult to him was saying the most obvious shit in the world, other than you plagiarized, which he finds that insulting. I think it's the truth of what he did. So that's the debate topic. You know what I mean? Once you get to that point, like, and you're mad, and then you start insulting my fucking wife. Like, Tyler, you are also yelling. I was having a good time. I raise my voice because I raise my voice. I'm a loud person. It's how I talk. Everyone from where I'm from is a bunch of gigantic 6 foot tall plus heavy bodied people that talk at the top of their fucking lungs. I also, for the first 4 years of my adulthood, had a job where I had to literally shout over a machine gun. That's not a flex. I got paid dog shit to be a machine gunner in the United States Marine. Tinnitus. I got fucky hearing. So I talk loud all the time. I talk like that when I'm having conversations at dinner in the real world. I talk loud. When you get into personal insults and it's time to have fun, and then I can try to use my training and education as just a person that loves the English language, then I get to fucking flex, and then it's ground game time. There's stand up. All right, let's talk about facts. We could have sat there and we could have talked about the massive list of citations. I fucking have it right here somewhere. Hold on. I'm not going to say them all out because some of them involve a lot of reading. But what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32-ish. I'll round it down because I might have double counted some of those to 30. 30 individual instances, most of which I double checked to find the original source material, of plagiarism or failure to cite or insufficient citations within just the first 11 minutes. So if you understand, I didn't need to watch the rest of the video because I didn't have time. That took me like 2 hours. 2 fucking hours, basically, of watching Tread and then watching their video and then watching Tread and scrubbing around and repeatedly finding, okay, this is directly where he lifted this from Tread. Okay, this is B-roll from Tread. This is that. This is this. This is that. And then going and doing double, triple checking tertiary to see if that met the standard for plagiarism or not. And it routinely did. 30 instances in the first 11 minutes. And it took me like 2 hours. President Sunday watched that video for like 5 minutes, skipped to a random spot, and they did a half-hour like diversion where they tried to hunt down the exact way that they had plagiarized a chunk and found out not only did they plagiarize it, but the Lore Lodge people had mischaracterized what was even said from what they plagiarized. So they didn't just steal the information, they also massaged it, which is like it absolutely expelled from most schools. If you were young enough as a creator, they would, or as a student, they would maybe just put you on like academic diversion, hopefully, like if you were a freshman. But if you were in your master's program or something, you're probably going to get fired, Thank you, by the way, Insomnia Noir, for the 5 gifted subs. So basically that debate happens. It goes exactly according to plan. I had a fucking blast. I had a good time. I made like $200 or $300 off of it so far. It's one of my biggest videos. I am probably going to end up making a few $1,000s off of that video over the lifetime of this channel within the next year. It was it was a perfect investment of my time and of my energy. People are like, I can't believe you're wasting time with this. Like, do you not know what time is worth? Time's worth money, dumb fuck. And that just made me money. So literally just everything about it was worked for me. I stand behind everything I said. I said the truth again and again and again. And I had a good time and I made some money, and everybody seems generally pretty fucking entertained by it. Everybody, obviously, except for Aidan Mattis. So I have a rule on my Discord that basically, as long as you don't break the actual rules of the Discord, most of which are the same rules I would think would fix like 4chan and stuff, which is I ban derailing. If you derail, if you weird people out, or if you post shit that would by itself become a derailment, just completely off topic, anything that's racist, bigoted, and shit where, if we did permit it, it would have to be long discussions over whether or not it was permitted anyway. All of that derailing shit is banned. Derailing behavior, pedantic, navel-gazing argument shit is banned. It's mostly just for hanging out and stuff. Talking about the stream, discussing stream content, at which point rules can get slightly bent just a little bit. So disagreeing with me or even having the completely opposite politics of me is not a reason to get kicked off my Discord. Set up like that specifically for instances like this. Other creators might not let you exist on their Discord. Other creators might not have a fan base that is trained, as mine are. Thank you guys for being good fans. I love you for this. Trained to not immediately start being abusive, dickhead assholes to people that come by and visit, even if I am not on the best terms with them. So the Aidans of Lore Lodge, Aidan Mattis and Aidan Thornberry, who were the respectively the creative voice, so to say, and the editor behind Lore Lodge, have been in my Discord since I think actually maybe the day before the thing. I can't remember exactly, but excessively in the days following the debate. These were on Aidan Thornberry, on the editor. I'll try to say just the editor and Mattis. On the editor's part, it was largely an appeal to, we didn't do nothing. He was trying to sell me a 12-pack of didn't do nothings. He used ancient and evil referencing. But basically, we didn't do anything wrong. I don't think. I hope not. But if we did, we're sorry. And, did and we caught us, we'll try to change. And good faith overture. I don't know. He's chill enough that he's fine. But I still find his behavior to be insufficiently apologetic to the people that need apologizing to. Honestly, if you feel there's an argument that you plagiarized from somebody, one of the best people to ask would be the people that we think you plagiarized from. Unironically, I would drop it completely. I would drop this entire thing completely. I might even say I'm sorry if they could reach out to the Tread documentary, the documentarians that made Tread, the actual production staff. If you reached out to them and talked to them and asked them if it was plagiarism, what you did, if they felt that they were plagiarized or ripped off, and they said, no, I think that that's all completely above board and fine, and I think you did a good job crediting us, I wouldn't have any leg to stand on. I would have to say, okay, fair. That's something you were always able to do, is reach out to the people who you took the information from. I would say, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I still think it fits the definition of plagiarism, but if they gave you permission to take their content that way, I don't think it's really worth making that big of an argument over, so maybe it's okay. Well, I guess it's actually technically still literally plagiarism, but I would have literally no concern to try to defend their content if they didn't care for it to be defended. And I could just move on to something else because I know that you've done it otherwise. But literally, nothing like that was done on their part. They haven't, from what I understand, tried to publicly reach out. They've tagged Morgan and Morgan, and we'll get to that. But they have not tagged Veritas or Gravitas Media, I believe it's called. Gravitas Extreme. They're tagged in the episode description of the other videos. The production company that posted that documentary to their own YouTube channels, that's the subscription element. I think that they're the ones that made it. So, they haven't tagged them on Twitter and been like, hey, do you think we ripped you off? Which I would do. if somebody accused me of ripping off like H Bomber guy, I would just say, hey, H Bomb at H Bomb, do you think I ripped this off of you? It's always there. That's one of the best defenses, especially if I am also convinced that they to some degree did some copyright violation stuff as well with their misuse of B-roll and their lack of attributions and crediting in that case. I mean, some of them are just pretty fairly obviously not fair use instances of the use of B-roll. That would have to be tried in a court. But if they just asked Veritas Media and the Tread guys, hey, do you think that we did this okay? And are you guys okay with it? Then I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But I don't know if they're ever going to do that. So that's what Aidan Thornberry's kind of been like in my Discord. Mattis has been a little bit more, a little different. Mattis has been just a touch more aggro, as we'll say. This isn't a complete list, and I don't know if it's still fucking ongoing, but in the interim, since the end of that debate, things have not been well, I guess, in the House of Aidan. They have since then edited the description of, they have since the end of that edited the description of their video from when I looked at it. And because I am good at research and recorded the research I was doing at the time on stream, especially, and just looked into it, I checked the credits underneath their description and they did not include anything relative to a bibliography. It is there now. And they have edited it since, which you can find evidence for on my Discord. I don't know if we have it immediately up in the thing. My editors and mods and stuff are compiling all of this shit together. So if you don't think any of this is true, because I'm not citing my sources which is fine. You can call me out on it. Go and check on my Discord, and there's a complete set of all of that down there. Editors, please feel free to add this as I'm talking, which is going to make it a lot more accurate because they'll have the screenshots ready for you. I just have all this shit at the top of my mind. But I will switch over to this. This is what Aidan's posts on my Discord have been like, and I feel aren't DMs. This is just public posts on my Discord. Most of this is his explanations of what's going on. Glad to see you here, Aidan Mattis. Talking about some stuff. He did share a copy of this. So this is Killdozer Mark II 1 PDF. This is apparently his script that he was talking about extensively during my debate with him, as being where he cited stuff, which yet again is worthless because if it's cited somewhere that's not the video, then it's not cited. I don't understand the logic train in his head to this moment right now, and I never really will, why he thinks that works. It makes literally no sense in any form of reality that citing your source in a different document than the document presented with no link to that document, and the document's also behind a paywall, would equivocate to an accurate citation. I don't know what college that works in. I don't know what publisher does that. There has to be one. You know what I mean? But that was his argument. This was provided to us, and we found that it was also, as far as citations go, poorly lacking. It was very often, just in a general sense, you can look this up. We have copies of it now because it is evidence and it was provided to us, and there's no reason to not share it at this point because it is evidence in his claims against me. It is bad evidence. It is, if anything, very similar to the Chugga Conroy conversation. Yet again, stop fucking talking. Literally stop giving me information. You are not effectively defending yourself. It is pretty fucking madness. Have you shown your long string of calling me an inbreeder for no reason? Oh my God. Blue and Butternut. This guy's a Confederate. Hold on. I actually do have that. I had that open. Give me a second. No. Yeah, I do. I have that. Because I was laughing at it earlier. Hold on. Here? One? No, where is it? I had that open just a second ago because I was crying laughing about it. You guys want to see me burn a guy? This is just mid-time. So this I can still fit this in the aftermath of the here we go, Blue and Butternut. God, I'm so glad that your name is the same as on. In the aftermath of the video being released, I have had the unfortunate opportunity to come into contact with the kind of people that watch Lore Lodge, and it is depressing. Unironically, Lore Lodge's fans have to be some of the most easily self-deceiving, stupid fucking rubes I've ever seen in my life, which is fine if, you know, you're dumb and you just like to eat slop like a pig. I can't take that away from you. You are what you are. You know, Honey Boo Boo fans didn't die. Here Comes Honey Boo Boo fans are not all gone. So I've been having like back and forth, I guess, with Lore Lodge for a little while. But if we go down here, okay, so here we go. Yeah, I think I was talking about this earlier. This is actually a pretty good summation of what it's like to interact with anyone from Lore Lodge's community. This person, by the way, Blue and Butternut, if we get into this, this page is dedicated to discussing military history and also honoring and defending the gallant soldiers of both sides of the American Civil War. So, you know, this guy's a supporter of the inbreeders, Johnny Reb, and the sister fucking animals that had to be put in their fucking place during the Confederacy. They should have all been fucking strung up and danced about as daisies do. But unfortunately, we were too merciful, and we still have to deal with you piece of shit to this day. I love America, too. But anyway, so this guy fucking popped off over. So this is his first. Do you understand what IBID means? I double checked this. IBID basically means we're continuing the citation of the source from previously. But IBID is itself a citation and must happen every time. So IBID is just shortens up you having to say this much to IBID because you're still saying from continued from the above source. Lore Lodge didn't do that. So it doesn't matter. So I started my interactions with this fucking absolute piece of shit. And we're gonna get into this. Yet again, also too stupid to under. Like, did you think that what did you think was gonna happen? What did you think was going to happen when you fucking came into my live stream? You gotta fucking stop. You gotta beat the inbreeder allegations. He didn't even put IBID. So what the fuck point are you trying to make? Inbreeder. At this point. So what I see here is that you are losing your mind because in one section of his video, he didn't say that he was referencing from a documentary that he had cited throughout the video. He said he cited it 15 times. There's 30 missing citations basically that I counted, and I could be slightly low in it. 30-ish missing citations in the first 10 minutes. Or incomplete or inaccurate citations. In the first 11 minutes, 30. He said 15 times during the debate. I remember Aidan saying that about 1 billion times. So those numbers just don't add up. We'll just leave it at that. Those numbers just don't work. Also, I'm getting really tired of your immature comments. Inbreeder, where do you even pull that from? You have a method of typing that suggests your mother, aunt, grandmother, and sister all share. Hey. Take my money for that incredible debate. Thank you, Jay. The $10. Corpo, please. Corpo, please. I'm trying to burn somebody. Corpo, please. You have a method of typing that suggests your mother, aunt, grandmother, and sister all share the same rotten wound. It's only vibes, but I hold it in my heart like the voice of Christ Jesus. You really are a disgusting person. You're the one with a family tree shaped like a question mark. Well, considering my ancestry, I doubt it is even possible that there is any incest in my family line. He quote tweets himself, which is wild. It's not that he quote tweeted himself, it's just that he like his evidence for his family line is just a quote tweet. My ancestry is German, English, Scottish, Irish. Don't care. And so I just say, bro, you just called it a line. You're fucking inbred. Own it. What? Oh my god. So that was just that was great. That is basically what the interaction with almost all of Lore Lodge's fans have been like. It's very depressing. It's a lot of, you are, I don't know if you understand this, a bit of a big meanie. And as a meanie pants, I am going to pee my pants in your comment section. Like, it's just all of my fans, moisturized, athletic, on point, hair done, nails did, literally just being based as fuck. Like, wow, that was entertaining. I'm going to get offline now and go hang out with my family. Lore Lodge fans. Online till 2 a.m. No, Aidan. No, Aidan. Please, please, Aidan. Let me powder your balls. You are the goodest boy. Don't let him be mean to you, Aidan. No. Crushingly fucking disappointing, dude. Oh my god. Go ahead and watch it. I cited all my sources very directly. These are not on screen, but I think you'll find them pretty thorough. About. So he's been in here forever. We got some cope. Our videos are meant to be entertainment first, with a heavy focus on accuracy, which are not academic papers. While I do write them using that same process I'd use for a term paper, the focus is on presentation of information rather than perfect academic formatting. None of this is all self-contradictory. I don't know if I have to explain this, but this is just completely... It's supposed to be entertainment with a heavy focus on accuracy. They're not academic papers, but I do write them using the same process I'd use for a term paper. But I don't present it the way that I would present the term paper. So I just cut out all the parts that would make it like a paper. But also that rigor is not there because we can actually look in this document. And every single person that has been to college, near college, high school even, has looked at this and said, those are notes. It's just notes, not a paper. So it's incomplete. And then it still just doesn't have all the citations that he says it's supposed to have, which is crazy. Because it should have like time codes and stuff for the specific part of Killdozer that it goes to, but it doesn't have anything like that. But in any case, he was in my fucking comment section fucking forever. This is all talkity talk. And so yeah, eventually I actually got back online because I'm busy. I have stuff. Aidan Mattis has nothing to do because Aidan Mattis doesn't have to do any of his own work. He steals shit, as far as I know. So when you're stealing stuff, you got plenty of time to be on Twitter. I get on Twitter basically like before I'm falling asleep, you know, here and there. If I'm riding somewhere and my wife is driving instead of me, I'm in a waiting room, that kind of stuff, I'll be on Twitter. But I gotta like get off. I hang out with my wife. I go to dinner, hang out with my in-laws, walk my dog when I can, when my back isn't exploded. Had business stuff to do. I write, play video games. I just get off fucking Twitter and stuff. So I finally get on back, which is why the conversation feels like it lulled. It's because he was having it without me. And I said probably something along the lines of, because this isn't clickable, this cap. Hey, stop. Your shit's plagiarized, basically, again and again, which I stand by. I stand by. So fucking my direct accusation, to which he has provided no counter evidence. It would be very easy, just his own video, but it's just there in black and white that he plagiarized. Not my fault. I didn't do it. He did. I just noticed, and then he turned it into a whole thing. He got butthurt about this, and then we've begin phase 3 of the fall of the house of the Mattis, the fall of the house of Aidan. Not plagiarism when you cite the source. He did not cite the source. He just didn't. He just didn't. Sometimes he literally didn't. But it's for every fact. For every fact, you have to cite the source when you're presenting these things like this. You know what I mean? It doesn't work as much for something like this, which is really free form. But understand, when I'm not citing my sources, you don't have to believe me. But I still try to repeatedly give you guys places to go find them. If I was writing all of this out, I would have it. And when we have everything, when my editor goes through this, I'm going to pay them extra money to fucking put the evidence there. So it's probably here right now, and I'm just talking for no reason after the fact. Because when it's not free form like this and you're looking shit up independently and it's a whole thing that you write out, the standards get higher because there's less reason for you to make a mistake. I'm live. You know what I mean? I make all my mistakes free form, but you can also chase back to them because I'm telling you where to go find the stuff if I fuck up. And you know that none of my sources are behind a paywall. Stop. I said precisely who said the words, and it was abundantly clear that we were citing Tread as a source. It was not abundantly clear. It was not clear to me because I had to look it up to double check and see what was and what wasn't Tread. At some point in that first 11 minutes that I checked, he actually cites a newspaper article from a period of time and says a guy was there, something really vague like that. If it was a good citation, I would be more in the wrong here because he could say it was specifically this article, but he just doesn't say that in the video. He doesn't say fucking anything because articles have names. It's like, hey, this video title, this article title, and it was on this date in this paper. You can go and find it and look it up and bring it back. That's the point of citing. So he just didn't. Like I have to say this so many times. He just didn't cite anything where he needed to. Like saying it later on doesn't count, and that's why it's plagiarism. I can't. I just need to stop harping over this again. I included everything that I found evidence of. Thread just contains blatantly false information. I don't care. All right, Tyler. And then we get to this. Please don't. That's what it was. He was saying to go watch the video himself, and so I said a mean thing to him. I said, please don't shill plagiarized material on my Discord. I'll have to remove the post if you do it again and like give you a ban or a kick. I'll give you a timeout, is what I said, I think. And so he responded with what is now one of the best copy pastas. It's actually profoundly good, like a professionally written copy pasta, which I'm going to be adding to the I'll be replacing that with this from now on. All right, Tyler, I'll just be straight up with you. You accused us of plagiarism. We did not plagiarize. We came to you in good faith to try and explain the issue. If this doesn't stop, we have to go the legal route with a cease and desist, as this constitutes defamation with intent to cause material harm. That's the last I'm saying. Next time, oh, you cut it off? It's next time you hear from us, it'll be from our lawyer or whatever. Oh, damn it, Fanatic. Damn it, Fanatic. Unless I'm just not looking at this correctly. But, oh, I have it up here. Come on, Discord, pop back up. Yeah, okay, so if this doesn't stop, we have to go the legal route. Husky, you piece. Somebody posted the different one. You accused us of plagiarism. We did not plagiarize. We came to you in good faith to try and backspasm. Sorry. We came to you in good faith to try and explain the issue. If this doesn't stop, we have to go the legal route with a cease and desist, as this constitutes defamation with intent to cause material harm. That's the last I'm saying. Next time you hear from me, it'll come from a lawyer. Spoiler, it was not the last time I heard from him, and I still have yet to talk to the lawyer. He actually talked to me. That was at 9:04 p.m., and when I fell asleep right around 1:30 or so, he was still fucking talking to me. Fucking goddamn it. Tiskity tisk tisk tisk. This is now turned into a copy pasta throughout my entire Discord server. Husky here at the top. All right, Tyler, I'll just be straight up with you. My chicken tendies are not ready. We did not cook. We came to you in good faith to try and cook up some yummy chicken tendies and fries. If this doesn't stop, we have to go the legal route with a chili cook-off, as this constitutes a violation of the chicken treatise with intent to cause material harm. That's the last I'm saying. Next time you hear from me, it'll come from a lawyer. Oh my God. Tyler, you need to get President Sunday to record a reading of that. Absolutely not. I do all my own. I take defamation seriously. If you did, you would probably, I think I responded to this. I take defamation seriously. If you did, you'd probably look it up. That's the thing. I can kind of get into that a little bit, and this will probably be how we're winding up the day, because I am actually the top of my foot feels very, let me just put it. The pain is pretty fucking phenomenal. Tickety tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick. Actually distracted. Started thinking about the hurt in. Okay. So libel, which to not play a quote, but quote J. Jonah Jameson. Not slander. I resent that remark. It's printed. It's libel. Libel in America. So if you are not American, don't give anybody your opinion on libel ever, because no one on earth, basically, with probably a few notable exceptions, has the same protections of freedom of speech as Americans do. We really are, I am starting to believe, the freest nation on earth. Maybe not in all the ways that matter, but in some of the ways, like, holy fuck, we can do whatever the fuck we want. American free speech laws are some of the most robust on earth. British people have nothing remotely like it. In Britain, this probably would be constituted as libel just because somebody felt mildly offended by it. Y'all are fucking crazy. I don't know about it. You got to watch your mouth in Britain. In America, if you have a feeling, you can say it. That's the most American shit ever. And it is very much routinely practiced in American law, and you see like the results, because First Amendment law is one of the few things I'm very, very interested in what people say about it. That's why the whole defamation case against Fox News for Dominion voting systems was pretty crazy, because normally that shit didn't happen. So Fox News had to be crazy in the wrong to get smoked like that. But let's see. Traditional libel is, this is from Cornell Law School. Tort governed by state law. State courts generally follow the common law of libel, which allows recovery of damages without proof of actual harm. Under the traditional rules of libel, injury is presumed from the fact of publication. However, U.S. Supreme Court has held that the First Amendment's protection of freedom of expression limits a state's ability to award damages in action for libel. By the way, it's a state thing. So, like I said, he's got to come to Kentucky, where this speech happened, and fight me on my home ground. So buy a bus ticket if you want to file, because it would be awesome. You would have to set, I think, national precedent. I don't know that much about the law, but I know enough about the law to know that if you want to try to get a constitutional rights case moved from one state to another, that state that I'm in, you're going to have to convince them also that it's worth letting them be stripped of their fucking state sovereignty to let you try a resident of a different state in your state for something that was done in the other state. That's going to be pretty fucking fun. The court held that the proof of actual malice is a reward. That's New York Times Co. versus Sullivan, 1964. Actual malice test created a national judicial standard for whether speech qualifies as libel. Figures must also prove that actual malice had been the intent of the libelous claim against them. So that's impossible to prove against me, because I believe 1,000 million billion % that he did libel, or that he did plagiarism. I believe that. You can't prove actual malice, because I'm not malicious. I think that you did the wrong thing, and I have not been proven that you haven't. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not like maybe necessarily full tier, but I haven't been provided any information that suggests that plagiarism hasn't. So even if I was wrong, I'm not being malicious. Like, I believe this 100%. It's my literal belief as an American citizen that he plagiarized, which is hard to get past. It gives deeper, though, too. Now, Supreme Court decided in Curtis Publishing Co. versus Butts. My wife likes. Public figures must also prove that actual malice had been the intent of libelous claims against them. I literally, I don't care if harm happens to him one way or another. So, like, I'm not trying to impugn him. I believe that he did it. I'm not like they would have to prove that I'm making it up, but I provided evidence that I believe supports my viewpoint. The malice would be proving that I'm conspiring with people to lie, which is really hard because I'm not lying. So you have to be lying to libel somebody. You know what I mean? So truth being the best defense, I'm 100% sure that I'm accurate, but also I believe it. And also I've been providing evidence that I believe 1000% proves it. So you have to overcome steel walls to get to me. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. I mean, you could, if you're an oil baron and you have like oil baron money, as happens in West Virginia very often, they'll slap suit you just for shits and giggles to try to make you spend $45,000 because they don't care about spending $12.5 million to push a false defamation suit through, and then the fines and the liabilities that come with filing a slap suit. That's suits something against public participation. I can't remember what the SL means, but that's a slap suit. Slap suit is hold on, let me look. Which is what he's threatening right now. Strategic lawsuit against public participation. So what Aidan Mattis is doing right now is trying to threaten a strategic lawsuit against public participation. He is, despite his libertarian leanings, attempting to use the court system against me in order to stifle my First Amendment rights. He is quite literally against free speech without reservation in this. I say that fully in belief that that is the case, because I believe, with no provided evidence against me, that he committed plagiarism, that my definition of plagiarism is accurate, that I could prove that he committed plagiarism, and in addition to that, certain aspects of copyright violation. And my biggest issue isn't that his channel is destroyed, it's that he stops pursuing the business practices that permitted him, or that basically, I don't want him to make money off doing plagiarism and copyright violation anymore. If that does cause him material harm, that's incidental to his unethical behavior. I don't care if that happens. If he wants to start doing literally anything else, as I said a bunch of times before, go for it. Also, when the original claims began, I walked away and only got a few thousand views compared to his massive viewership. So, yeah, I mean, you could say it, but he's a public figure, so he could just say, nuh-uh, or ignore me, and nothing would have ever happened. Most of the understanding of what's going on here being spread outside of my community isn't my fault, it's his. He's the one that's sharing it. So, like, at a certain point, the maliciousness of me is like, why do you keep talking? Which I've repeatedly said and warned him against. I'm like, why? Literally, if you stop, I'll stop, but you keep going on, which is crazy. But yeah, in Gertz versus Robert Welk Incorporated, 1974. That's a citation, by the way. Notice how all this information, because those are court cases. This is Cornell Law School. They have a little bit of academic rigor, what with it being a fucking law school. These are the kind of people, by the way. These are the kind of people that you're going to have to try to convince to take your case. And then you're going to have to tell them, I didn't commit plagiarism. And then they're going to say, show me the work in question. And you're going to have to show them that fucking Killdozer video. Oh, my God. The court refused to extend the New York Times standard to actions for libel involving private individuals, even where the matter is of public concern. In Gertz, the court recognized a strong and legitimate state interest in compensating private individuals for injury to reputation, but cautioned that this interest extends no further than compensation for actual injury. The Gertz court held that in a case regarding a public concern, recovery of presumed or punitive damages is not permitted without a showing of malice. The only exception to this is when the liability is based on a showing of knowledge of falsity or a reckless disregard for the truth. I have only regard for the truth. As I've repeated again and again and again, I took notes. I did research. I believe I have a case established against him. This is all protected speech. Tippity tip top. Reckless regard for the truth would have to be being told opposite evidence, which he's never provided. He has said this isn't the case, but a liar would say that. A person who is wrong would say that. I believe that my views go opposite of his. He has shown disregard for the truth and reckless not inconsideration for the case of things because he doesn't look up anything. He doesn't do research. He doesn't cite shit. which is proven again and again, both through our interactions and through his inability to deal with me. Like literally, he is on his face somebody that's unconcerned with the truth of things whatsoever. Which is basically how you end up creating conspiracy content. You don't care about the actual truth, in my opinion. But that's the case. Also, the punitive damages and compensation for actual injury, he's going to have to prove that my speech against him has caused injury. Me hurting his feelings is not libel. Those aren't the damages. He's actually going to have to prove that my speech also, in addition to being incorrect, showing reckless disregard for the truth, actual malice, or not just incorrect, literally an intentional lie and false being written. He's going to have to prove that it's a record too, which is very difficult. What with it being recorded? He's also going to have to prove that there was actual injury caused. So, the cease and desist aspect of this is actually for that, is to prevent injury, right? I don't think the worst possible thing that could happen from this, well, the worst thing that could happen to him would be that his video gets taken down by the copyright holder, which I would support 100%. And if that happens, that's within probably the DMCA and standard copyright law. That would be the worst injury he could suffer from this, which would actually prove my case and be fine. Because that would just prove that he did copyright violation through the DMCA or through traditional means of copyright protection. But he would also, on top of that, outside, if that didn't happen, prove that I have somehow caused damage to his reputation that is solely through my actions, and wouldn't have been caused otherwise. So even if he sees like a drop in subscribers or something, he's going to have to prove that it was my libelous speech that did it, and not him acting like a fucking asshole on Twitter. The secondary cause would not be sufficient. Like, if I lie about you and then 10 people stop going to your business because they're like, hey, I heard this lie that I think is the truth, I'm not going to shop there anymore. And then 400 people stop going to your business because after I lie about you, you walk out into the middle of the street and take a gigantic shit in front of the town square. It's going to be very difficult to prove that the damages to your business overall are caused by my speech, and that the 10 people that stopped shopping there are somehow completely separable from the 200 people that stopped shopping there because of your own individual reaction to this. There's probably a lawyer out there that's very, very good that could prove that, and I could always be wrong because I'm not a lawyer. You know, it's completely possible. I'm 100% wrong in all the courses I took on this in college. All the preparation they gave us to not do this, which is why I'm so attuned to not plagiarizing or libeling people, because I took courses on it with my humanities degree. So I have all this prior knowledge. I could still be wrong, but generally that's the case that they told us. You know, you can't blame secondary and tertiary faults on the thing that actually happened. You know what I mean? It could be considered in damages once it's decided, but you have to prove the damages ahead of time in this case. And so those damages have to be irreconcilably connected for sure to the speech under American law. If you're not in America, you're in Canada, so I don't give a fuck. And also it's going to have to be underneath the libel laws specifically. These are First Amendment cases that went all the way up to, these are Supreme Court decisions that came down, because this is still constitutional law, but it follows underneath, in a lot of times, state practices, right? So the state is the judiciary here, but the Supreme Court has made prescriptions, which means the state cannot decide past these Supreme Court precedents that went all the way up. All state courts have to abide by these, but even the state courts are going to have their own state precedents and their own state laws regarding this. Most of them, when it comes to any constitutional law, sub-derivation thereof, are pretty much almost exactly the same, shot for shot, with the notable exception of places like Chicago and New York and LA, where they have major First Amendment issues going on all the time because they have production and major news locuses and fictional production studios, shit like that, and people are concerned, they might have different approaches to the law. For instance, in most of America, you can have one-party consent for recording. I can record at any time. Doesn't matter. I can be always recording because it's my First Amendment right. In California specifically, it is a two-party consent state, so you cannot record someone without their prior consent for any reason. So you have to have two-party consent, both the person who is creating the recording and the person who is being recorded. And you have to prove that you did absolutely nothing to warrant the criticism. So best hope you, yeah, also true. And Dunn and Bradstreet Incorporated versus Green Moss Builders Incorporated, 1985, the Supreme Court held that in actions for libel involving private individuals and matters of purely private concern, presumed and punitive damages may be awarded on a lesser showing than actual malice. Private individuals, which is neither of us. We're both public individuals, even though we're small, because we are both intentionally putting our lives out in front of the public. Doesn't even account to us. First Amendment was not violated by permitting recovery of presumed and punitive damages without a showing of malice, as long as the defamatory statements do not involve issues of public concern. So that's like direct gossip between private individuals. It's one of the reasons that we have drama channels that can say some wild shit about people. Because once you put yourself on YouTube, and this is the thing, don't put yourself on YouTube. Don't ever put yourself on YouTube. Do not get on the internet. Don't do what I do. Ever, 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 period, ever. Unless you are planning to make money off of it. And you think that that money would be worth what you are giving up to be on YouTube. When you start putting yourself on the internet as your real self, even just your voice, even just your words sometimes, anything that can be traced directly back to you, that is a signifier of intent to enter the public sphere by any means whatsoever. So even if you are, that's why the small, big YouTuber dichotomy is like a fiction in people's minds. There's aspects of like a power dynamic there, but there is no difference a lot of times when it comes to the courts. They won't really care, because if you say, I want to be in the public sphere, right? And you go here, I'm here, and then someone says something crazy about you. You can't say, I didn't want anyone talking about me the way that you can in some of these other precedents. So that's the expectation of privacy, existence as a private individual. If I go and I point a camera through somebody's fucking room and say, look what they did a bad thing, and they were always intending to be a private individual, that is my fault. If that person leaves the confines of their home and starts engaging with the public as a public individual, they no longer have that sort of perceptional right to be perceived as a private individual. They are now entering the public sphere, and so they can be discussed by the public. There's no entreaty to being a private person. Now, there are aspects of scale, obviously, but the difference between staying inside and outside of the public sphere, basically inside and outside of your house and doing shit, and then doing shit outside and doing it in front of a crowd of 1,000 and a crowd of 10 million, that difference, the 1,000 to 10 million crowd, is nowhere near as valuable as the 0 to 1. Like, that is a thing to keep in mind. So, like, also, when you're a public figure, you can be impugned. People can say, they can have opinions on you because you are putting yourself out there to be observed. And the observations of people, essentially, are their First Amendment right. However, people actively delving into the private concerns of a private individual or lying about them is a whole different fucking ball game on the small level. And that does not, public official, in this case, public person, does not extend to someone like who starts a small business. You know what I mean? Like Jane's florist. Yeah, it's Jane. Her name's on the sign. She's a florist, but she's still basically like a private individual running her little floral company. If you start digging into her and trying to rip her apart, that's a whole different ball game than Jane's Flowers on YouTube of 10 million or of 10,000 fucking subscriber or viewer, 10,000 viewer total fame. That's a whole different fucking ball game. Those things are changing as the internet becomes more ubiquitous. That's something that you would have to go look at First Amendment lawyers, First Amendment law, people that cover libel, people that get into this specifically, because if it seems like this is confusing and that there's a lot of things that seem like maybe like somewhat contradictory, or they're hard to understand, or like I can't explain them very well. All juries in America feel basically the same way. I don't have the statistics at hand, but it's very difficult for people to understand the intentional and very important to be there sort of nets and snares and double backs and all this Gordian knot, so to say, that is First Amendment law, and its sub derivations that are underneath it that define people's conduct in regard to their First Amendment rights to speech. It's that difficult because the speech is so hard to keep protected while also being, by default, by nature, needing protections from people, or protections from people and people's protections from it. And it's very difficult, which is why the lawyers that specialize in this do only this. And they are some of the most sought after lawyers. Any constitutional law professor or professional is probably one of the best, or they're very highly specialized into what they do. You start at constitutional law when you start in law school. You just go right into the Constitution because it's the first document, and everything else comes down from there. But knowing what your actual First Amendment's rights do for you in an instant require not just knowledge of the First Amendment, which is this big broad thing, but also thousands at times, and if you go to the other amendments, thousands of regulations, laws, court precedents, court procedures, all of these different things to see if this one specific action you're taking is actually correct under the law. And a lot of people who are First Amendment absolutists are really only First Amendment absolutists because that law is so difficult to understand that they think that it should always feel like that whenever they do anything. It should always have the make no law in respect to blah, 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 blah. But even the First Amendment is an amendment. It's not a law. So it is an alteration because people went, fuck. We have all this, but we do need this Bill of Rights added after the constitutional establishment had before. And so it's this whole fucking thing. And that aspect of law is very, very difficult. To get my degree of photojournalism at the University of Cincinnati, you have to take, I think it could be different now. I think it was 15 credit hours, which is a full semester in various First Amendment law classes. And 2 of them had to be, I think it was 6 credit hours in the specific 2 required First Amendment law classes. Basically, one of them is freedom of speech as a law, and then the next one is libel and defamation, libel and slander. Basically, what you can do and then what you can't do. So it actually might have just been those 6 credit hours. I have to look it up again, but I feel like I took so much law classes, and those were not like fuck around classes. It was, you have to graduate or to pass those classes at the end, you have to demonstrate salient and actionable knowledge of the First Amendment and of libel and defamation, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but off the top of my head, but I have them kind of pre-programmed. All of the major Supreme Court precedents that talk about things like obscenity and libel and defamation and the character of works and what copyright is and when copyright is established. And if you're like, well, it feels like I shouldn't have to know all this to make stuff. Yeah, you do. And if you don't, then you should fucking hire a lawyer, go over your work, because you're just leaving yourself open for attack. I'm telling you guys again and 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 again. If you think the DMCA takedown shit is bad, the fake DMCA strikes, if these guys, if you found a way to link, you know how mesothelioma is something that people are still talking about, but people haven't been dying of mesothelioma routinely for like decades, but you can still get the second you create a way to create classes of people who have been damaged, or even just individuals who have been damaged by copyright violation, if you create the class, if you can make the class, if you can just find the individuals, injury law, these gigantic channels that are making millions of dollars off of plagiarism, if there is a moment where you find the ability to connect them with lawyers who can work on contingency to win these cases and take these motherfuckers down and just snatch money out of their pocket, they'll do it. They'll do it. You might feel like you're fine because it doesn't feel like you're hurting anybody, but they will come and fuck you up. I've already found that it's profitable to talk. I didn't think it was. That's why I haven't been doing it. I just found with Aidan Mattis that it is profitable to talk about people's plagiarism. It just is. It is just good. If you can do the research and you find, if you go out right now as a creator and you look through massive creators who are making a bunch of money, just look for anyone that's making over 1,000 or over 1 million views per video. They're probably making, like Aidan said, tens of thousands of dollars per month. And they already have a baked in audience. If you find these multi-million channels that are putting out content mill content, and you find that if you look them up on Twitter and find that they are, I guess, like Aidan was, I didn't even look him up. I just stumbled upon this. This is how rich the environment is for exploitation. This is fine to do. Calling people out for something that is wrong is okay. Oh, it's just drama content. Who gives a shit? It's money. You want money? Go out. Look for these creators that are making million, 2 million, 10 million plus videos that seem lazy, and see if they're just literally go and say, how could they know that? And then go and dig and see how they could. And if they aren't citing their sources and you find out that they're stealing, make a video on it and tag them in it, and you might get a bunch of views.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.